Highly acclaimed as Australia's finest guitar duo, Kazakhstan-born Slava and Leonard Grigoryan are known worldwide for their classical guitar genius. As sons of professional violinists who made Melbourne home and music their lives, the Grigoryan brothers have played together for years and do it to perfection. Next month, Slava and Leonard will feature with flamenco master Paco Pena and other guitar greats on a national tour showcasing flamenco, classical, blues and jazz. It's a night of celebration of the guitar. I have Slava on the phone now. Welcome, Slava. I'm so excited to talk to you about guitar. But first, a little bit about you. You studied with your dad since the age of 7, I believe.
That's right. He was my most significant teacher, I guess. He was the one that guided me while I was a kid, and I spent a bit of time with a few other teachers just to get some guitar specific help with, because as you mentioned, Dad's a violinist, and he was a fantastic music teacher, but he actually never showed me how to do anything himself. So we studied books together and watched lots of videos, and in terms of the kind of the technical aspect of playing guitar, I did spend some time with a few other teachers, and when I moved overseas, studied with a great teacher in Spain called Jose Tomas. But apart from that, Dad was definitely the main influence.
Your first professional performance was at age 12. What made you choose the guitar as the instrument of choice?
I didn't. They gave me a guitar, and it just stuck. It's something that I really fell into it. I loved the instrument. I loved its versatility, and the fact that it played such a huge role in every genre of music. And even though I studied classically, I was very encouraged to explore other genres of music, and the guitar's the perfect vehicle for that.
This event called Guitarra that you're taking all over the country. Tell us a little bit about how that came about and what we're likely to see.
Well, the concept of a bunch of guitarists getting together for a night of music like this is quite common, I guess, in a way, in terms of what's happening around the world. The sort of the idea that guitarists from different musical backgrounds have a common thread, a common language between them. So it's a great opportunity for audiences to actually see some vastly different approaches on the same night. So the idea was floated to us, to Lenny and I, and to Paco, and of course we all wanted to jump on board, and we're being joined by two other fantastic Australian guitarists, Phil Manning, who's one of the country's best-known blues guitarist, and Jim Pennell, who's a wonderful jazz guitarist from Sydney. So it'll be a night of classical guitar, flamenco, blues, and jazz, and we'll all do our individual bits and pieces, and then there's definitely going to be some fun for all of us on stage together at the end.
So everyone's playing their chosen genre of music, and as you say, then the final bit is when everyone comes together and does something different.
Absolutely, and that's something that is always going to keep on changing and evolving. It's it's quite a challenge, but a really a fun challenge to try and put something together with such distinct approaches and styles and sounds. So I think we've got a couple of days together once Paco arrives from overseas to rehearse and figure something out. I'm sure we'll have fun trying.
Yeah. I read somewhere that the Grigoryan Brothers are actually looking to change your direction in music, to sort of swap it up from classical, to start incorporating a bit more jazz and folk and contemporary music into your agenda. Is that right?
Well, I mean, that's something that we've done from day one. From our perspective, that's what we've always had to do on stage. We love classical music. That's how we learned. We love the instrument, and we're still obsessed about expanding the repertoire and working and arranging classical music as much as possible. But at the same time, we've always played in bands. We've always improvised. We've always loved jazz, folk music, different music from around the world, and we also compose ourselves. So with a regular Grigoryan Brothers concert, there's always a little bit of everything, and I guess that's kind of been our driving force from day one, and we're certainly excited about always continuing that. That's I don't think that's ever going to change for us.
It's an ongoing journey, isn't it? You just continue to create and develop and evolve. What currently are your personal favourites to play?
It's always such a difficult question to answer, because there's so much music, floating around in one's head, and so many projects that we're kind of juggling at the same time. I can speak on behalf of Lenny and I. We both adore the music of Bach, and his music is a constant companion to us. So there's always something of his that we're working on, and we've actually just finished recording with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra a few concertos, some very unusual arrangements of Bach concertos, which obviously weren't written for the guitar, let alone two guitars, but our father spent a long time arranging and creating some orchestral Bach work that we can sink our teeth into. That's something that we're having a lot of fun with at the moment.
Yeah, so lots of experimentation. Between you and Leonard, who seem to perform so seamlessly together, do you think it's that familial energy or the synchronicity? What makes you two gel so well, other than the sheer amount of time you've spent doing it together?
Well, I think the time is the biggest factor, actually. When you grow up with someone, obviously there's the added benefit of knowing someone intimately, knowing how they think, how they operate. It's definitely easier making music with a family member in that way, and then just the sheer volume of time that you spend together makes it so much easier to read one another. And we're, as I mentioned before, we're the best of friends as well, and love the same sort of music. So we're it makes understanding each other very, very simple and easy. And I think we're very, very fortunate to have that relationship.
Slava, thanks so much for talking to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up again, and continued success to both of you.
Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for having me.